Hello all, another tutorial on Scan and Cut Canvas. This time around I'm going to talk about welding word frames. As you can see here, I've already made a start, and I've got a few designs that I quickly made just before I recorded this video. So I'm going to take you through the basics first of all, and then I'll probably show you a few of these designs individually as well. So to start, what I'm going to need is a basic square and then one of the pre-designed logos. Now do remember, obviously you can also use the text and create your own as well. I'm just doing this for speed. The first thing that I'm going to do is create the frame into which I'm going to weld the word. I'm just making mine 5 inches just so it's nice and big on the screen, but again you can obviously adapt this to your card or your project. I'm creating an offset line with an inward facing line and a beveled edge. Then I'm using the process overlap function, and this time I'm using subtract so that I've then automatically got my frame with no leftover shapes. Then I'll move the word over the frame and just adjust the size with the little nodes on the corners so that it overlaps nicely, and I want mine in the middle, so I'm going to center it using the align function. And then using the process overlap weld function, I've created my word frame. What I'd like to do though is create this mat or layer onto which it will sit on the project that I'm making. So I'm changing the offset line settings to outward, and I'm deselecting the bit that it says about creating only the outer edge, and everything else stays the same. So there we go, automatically, instantly, it's created the mat onto which the layer will sit. Now, it's difficult to see while it's a transparent outline, but if I fill this with a colour, you can see that actually those shapes are almost grouped. So, if I subtract, now you'll see that it's an empty shape. And then what I need to do is send this to the back, so that the you and me frame will sit on top. And this is just really for my display. It doesn't make a difference when you're cutting because you'll have these separately on the mat anyway. But I just wanted to do it so you can see the effect that you'll get when it's all cut out. And then just so that if I want to resize them, I do group them because I've saved a number here in the same project, so I just wanted to make sure that they're both resizable. So that's the basic and simple principle of creating a welded word frame. What we can do now though is create something slightly different. So I'm going to show you the Easter egg design. For this I'll use the pre-made Easter logo, and then I'll go into the basic shapes, and there is actually an egg shape in here already, so that's good, I don't have to create it. So I just bring that onto the mat. Now believe it or not, it's exactly the same process for this as it was for the square. So I need to create the offset line. That's done. Now this didn't work this time around with subtract, so I'm going to go back in and use the divide function. Delete the leftover shape, bring in my logo, and you can see there I'm just using a variety of the zoom tools to help me work quicker and see exactly what I'm doing. So that's in position where I want it to be. Click, drag, select both things and then weld. That simple. Again, creating the mat onto which it will sit. Do remember to change this tick box every time you're working depending on what you're trying to do, because if you're working with the basic shape creating the frame, you only want the outside layer, whereas if you're creating the mat, you'll need both the inside and the outside. And again, I'm just changing colours here just so that you can see on the mat what it will look like when it comes out, but it's not a necessary step. Again, aligning it and finishing off by grouping it so that I can resize if I need to. And there we go. Easily replicable, that's a big word. Okay, let's take a look at another one of these. I think this time around we'll go for the family one. This uses an apple core shape, so we'll go in and find that. There it is. Okay, and then we'll need the family sentiment. Okay, now I want that rotated, and I also want to resize it, so I'm doing it at 5 inches and a 90-degree turn. Same process as before to create the offset line, and because it's the basic shape, I just want the outer edge. Again, process overlap, divide, and delete that spare shape in the middle. Move that text over to, over the shape, and then resize it to fit, making sure that you've got some bits that overlap, otherwise it probably won't weld too well. I've just got a bit too much there, I think, so I'm just going to drop it down a tiny bit more. Okay, and weld. Now, it looks like I've got a tiny bit of leftover, and zoomed in at 1000%, there's just a little bit there that I think is going to cause a problem with some fraying or nicking on the card when it tries to cut it out. So I'm going in using my line editing tools to delete that little section. And I think I'll get rid of this little one up here as well. Now when you export, the Scan and Cut canvas will actually remove bits that are too small, but I do like to do this quick check before I finish off a design, just to make sure that I've, taken care of everything. It's well worth trying to do this before you try and cut it and mess up a load of card. Okay, so we're just going in now, and remember, untick that box. Everything else stays the same on this particular one, and then we've got our frame. Sorry, our mat. I think we'll have a nice peachy colour this time. Okay, I've got a bit of a weird shape there as well. I think I'll get rid of that because it doesn't look like it's got much turning space and it looks very thin, so if I try and resize this down a bit, it's probably not going to be too happy. Just going to add some colour again so that you can see what it will look like on the mat. Shift, click and drag, and then align, and because that mat is sitting on top of the other one, I'm just going to send it to the back and finish by grouping. So you can see how quickly you can start creating these, and you can create all sorts of different ones using the pre-built-in logos or using text. So realistically you can just keep going with these for hours and hours and hours and just save a whole batch of them ready to start making. I'm not going to show you the bridal shower one because it is just exactly the same process. It's just using the pennant shape and the bridal shower sentiment. I do, however, want to show you this love heart because it does actually show that it doesn't just have to be two of the same shapes. You can use different shapes together to create different combinations as well. So there are 3 hearts in Scan and Cut Canvas. This one is an inverted scallop, so like the inside of a scalloped heart. This is your outside of the scalloped heart, and here's a plain heart. I'm going to get rid of the inverted, and I'm going to use the 2 others. So I'm just positioning them on a clean area of the mat so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to increase the size of the scalloped heart, just so that I've got a nice overlap area, and then I'll align them so they sit directly on top of each other. And then process overlap, divide, get rid of that spare heart, and there I've got my scalloped heart frame, but it's got a plain cut line in the middle. Again, position your text over the top, and then click, drag and weld. Creating my mat again here. Oh, he looks like a bit of a cloud face, doesn't he? Or a jammy dodger. Okay, using the subtract function this time around, as I can get away with it on this one. Going to add some colour in again, just so you can see. Oh, I've got a bit of a problem with my right mouse button. Keeps being wonky. Click, drag, select, and then align. And finish by grouping. So, there we go. A whole range of different combinations for welded frame, welded word frames. It's a bit of a mouthful. Don't forget to save your project so that it is always backed up in the cloud. But that's it for now. You can see how very quickly and easily you can do these. Thank you for watching, and I hope you give this a go yourself. For more hints and tips, please don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/gentlemancrafter. If you're on Twitter, you can find me at John_Bloodworth.